Yeah. Woo. What's going on? What's going on, good people? Hopefully, y'all doing well. Listen, I'm super excited to be a part of this thing with Sam Ash. So, I just want to let you guys get in the room. If you got questions, if you want to ask me any kind of questions, now is the time to kind of start asking questions. I'm going to be teaching a few things today and also sharing with you about Kerry's Camp. I'm really excited about Kerry's Camp. It's an online platform that teaches you specifically how to learn how to unlock this fretboard and learn how to play R&B, neo soul, and gospel. So that's what I specialize in. I can play all different types of things, but that's mainly what we specialize in. So I'm going to be talking to you today about a few techniques that you can add to your playing that are going to definitely help you. So if you follow me on any platform, if there's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever the case may be, you're going to see that I always kind of preach these different philosophies. So the first and most important thing that I always try to make sure is when I'm teaching is that people understand that we're always relating every song, regardless if it starts out with a minor or whatever it is, to a major key. And the reason why that's important is it helps us to identify the philosophies that we're teaching, right? So I want to make sure that whenever we're teaching that we're understanding that what key we're in, because it's going to help us use the same format and formula every time that we're playing. Doesn't matter if we start on the minor chord first, doesn't matter if we start on the major chord first. It's going to allow us to understand the ideology of what we're using, so that way every time that we play, doesn't matter if it's R&B, if it's neo soul, if it's gospel, if it's singer-songwriter, if it's pop, whatever the case may be, is definitely going to give us a little insight. So before we get started, let me go ahead and just talk about who I am. So that way you're like, yo, who is this random dude? Hi, my name is Kerry. Most people know me as 2Smooth. It's a childhood nickname. We can get into that. We can talk about how I got this nickname. It really started out when I used to play quartet and not really move around a lot. So they used to be like, yo, who was that in the corner? Like, oh, that's just 2Smooth. And that's kind of how the nickname stuck. So that's a little bit of the backstory for the nickname. I've been playing guitar for well over 20 years. I played for the likes of Jason Derulo, Tori Kelly. I've worked with the Black Eyed Peas. I played for Sean Kingston, Ty Dolla $ign, 2 Chainz. I played for Lettucey, Melanie Fiona, Grace Weber, Kiana Lede. I played for a lot of different people. So the things that I'm going to be teaching you today, I've been using the same philosophy to approach music for everybody. It doesn't matter if I'm called to do a session, doesn't matter if I'm called to do a live situation, or if we're just kind of creating with some of my friends. I use the same ideology whenever I'm playing because it helps me to break down this thing. This thing can be very intimidating. This guitar can be very intimidating if you don't understand how to approach it in a sense of what makes sense. And so using these same principles, what I'm going to be sharing with you today, are definitely going to help you understand what I'm talking about. But before we jump into that or whatever, I want to give a shout out, you know what I'm saying, for this guitar. This guitar is super, super dope. So if you're not familiar with Michael Kelly guitars, you should definitely look them up. And I'm always asked from time to time, like, yo, I'm an intermediate player. I've got a little bit of a budget. What should I put my money on? And I'm telling you, this is a guitar that you could definitely put your money on. And I mean, if you didn't hear me playing before, this guitar is very warm, resonates really good. It plays really well, looks good. Because I know cosmetic people, you know, it's really important that a guitar looks good, but people also want to know, can it play and can it sound great? And I'm telling you right now, it sounds great. So especially for my style, where we do a lot of dives and using the tremolo bar, this is an ideal guitar. So for all my R&B junkies, all my neo soul junkies and gospel junkies, if you're looking for a guitar, definitely. I'm not trying to push anything. I'm just trying to tell you, listen, I landed on something that's really gold, and I'm really going to just share that information with you guys. But to get back into what I was saying, how's the weight? Oh, the weight is good. Listen, the weight placement is really good. It's solid. It's not, you know, something that feels like it, and there's no, you know, that is not made very well. This is made really solidly. This guitar has got some nice weight to it. And it's not too heavy where you're going to get any kind of neck fatigue. All right, so I just want to answer that question for Sheila. All right, so jumping back in to the ideology, it's really important no matter what song you play that you always understand what key you're in. And what we do is we can do it in 2 positions. So our root note is usually our 1, right? So our root note today that we're going to be talking about in this lesson is going to be in the key of F. So our root note is going to be on the 6th string. So we know when you're hearing out different kind of numbers, you understand what it is. So our 1 is always going to be a major chord. 2 is going to be minor. 3 is going to be minor. And just a real kind of simple way to really look at it too. So like if you look at it, 1, 2, as I'm talking to my niece, I tell her 2 boxes because I'm teaching her how to play guitar as well. 2 boxes, right? It's going to be our next chord. It's going to be a minor chord. 2 more boxes. It's going to be our 3. If we go back to our first box where our 1 was, right underneath our 1 is going to be our 4, which is going to be a major chord as well. We're going to go 2 more boxes. It's going to be our 5. For me, I typically like to use a minor 9 shape just because I like that voicing. 2 more spaces, it's going to be our 6. And then 1 more space, it's going to be our flat 7. And back to our 1. So 1, 2, 2 more spaces, 3. Remember, our 4 is directly underneath our 1, going back on the 5th string or the 2nd thickest string, however you want to call it, our A string. Major chord, 2 more boxes, it's our 5. Use the minor 9 shape, or you can use a regular major. 2 more spaces is our 6. 1 more space is our 7. Back to the 1. So a good exercise to kind of do in order to, whenever you're warming up, is just to work through. So like 1, 2 more spaces, 2, 2 more spaces, 3. Go back underneath our 1 is our 4, 4, 2 more spaces, 5, 2 more spaces, 6, 1 space is 7. Back to 1. All right, cool. So now that we've kind of worked through that, now that's something that I would suggest and I would highly recommend for like my newbies or intermediates who are kind of learning how to do the number system. Get some note cards. There's no shame in you getting stuff and you writing it down. There's no shame in that. So get some note cards. I mean, old school, write it out, 3 blocks, right? You can do the 3 lines if you want. You can put the reference dot if you want, whatever the case may be is. And you can start to do this like when you're learning the different notes on the neck of the guitar, right? So what we can do is when we're doing our 1st fret, so we know that's going to be F. 2 frets up, that's going to be G. 2 frets up, that's going to be A. Go right underneath our F, it's going to be B flat. 2 frets is going to be C. 2 frets up is going to be D. Then 1 fret up is going to be E flat. Back to the F. So this reason why it's really important to understand this is it's going to start to make a lot more sense the more you use this. And I really cannot stress the importance of understanding how to use the number system, because it's really going to allow you to really start to unlock the fretboard and make things a lot more simple for you. So whenever you hear a song, you're going to be able to be like, oh, okay, cool. Or if you're in church setting or whatever the case may be, or if you're on stage and somebody's yelling across you, because they're not going to be like, hey, play a A flat, da 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 da. They just may be like, they may hold up a number, or you may hear the person in the talk back and be like, yo, we're going to go to the 2 right here. Whatever the case may be. So when you're hearing that kind of language, you understand what it means. You won't be confused by like, what are they saying? What are they talking to me about? I have no idea. Yo, what's up, Mr. Red? I'm starting to see a couple campers in here. Super excited right there. We got Baba Amir in here. Yo, I'm super hot to see some of you guys in here. Like, welcome. Thank you guys for supporting. It's so really cool. I'm just going to be talking about a couple different techniques and some of the stuff that we talk about in Kerry's Camp. I'm really going to showcase a lot of new comers that are used to, hearing me talk about this. What is Kerry's Camp? I'm going to show you a little bit behind the scenes. So for my campers, this is going to be kind of like a refresher. So if you guys got some questions, some of my campers or just anybody else who's watching or whatever, drop a comment and let me know, because I definitely want to answer your question. That's really going to be cool. All right, so we talked about the number system. You can never forsake learning the number system. It's always good to have some refreshers and the same position and spacing. So like, remember we talked about our 1 being on our 6th string, 2 spaces to our 2, 2 spaces to our 3. You can modulate that same ideology because it works. So let's just say we're in F, right? 2 spaces is our 2, 2 spaces is our 3. Underneath our 1 is our 4, 2 spaces is our 5, 2 spaces is our 6, 1 space is our 7. So let's go, we're gonna modulate, okay? So we're gonna go a whole step to G. Do the same thing, right? So we're in G now. So G is our root. 2 spaces is going to be our 2. 2 spaces is going to be our 3. Underneath our 1 is going to be our 4. 2 spaces is going to be our 5. 2 spaces is going to be our 6. 1 space is going to be our 7. And then back to our 1. All right, cool. All right, so now we're in the key of G. We want to talk about some different kind of techniques, okay? Now that we've talked about that. One of my favorite techniques to always teach when it comes to R&B is palm muting. Now that's a technique that can be somewhat challenging in the beginning because you're not sure how much pressure to apply whenever you're playing. They don't know if you need to push down super hard. You shouldn't push down to the point where you feel like you're getting ready to pass out. It's really just about like you're just resting your hand on the bridge of the strings so you get that good muted sound. Instead of you want to get that good muted sound. So if we're playing a chord, right, we We want that, the intention is to get that muted sound. Anytime that I'm learning a new concept, I always want to create a groove. Reason why, if it sounds good, you're going to be more likely to continue to play. That's one of the things that whenever I'm learning a new concept, if I'm learning a new lick, I want to add it into something that I already know how to do because I'm going to be more keen on trying to make it sound or feel a certain kind of way. So that's super, super important to do whenever you're learning a new concept. So we're learning palm muting. Let's create a groove, right? You know what I'm saying? Or somebody says you can't see the name of the brand. Is that better? Michael Kelly guitars. All right, let me make sure you guys can. You guys see that? Let me know. Can you guys see that? Paul, is that good for you? I want to make sure that you're able to see. This guitar, listen, this brand, this particular brand, and again, this is kind of like a goal. It just fell into my lap. So for all my guitar players who are in that kind of beginner intermediate phase, you got a little bit of a budget, you're about to get your little stimmy, you know what I'm saying, you like your stimulus check, like I got a few coins coming in, I want to make a purchase, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of guitar I need to get. This is a great brand for you to go ahead and start kind of like visualizing, like, yo, I want to put my hands on this. Number one, the guitar looks great. Like, let's talk about that. Like, I need y'all to look at that. Yo, this guitar, the woodwork on this guitar is incredible. You know what I'm saying? The back, whoo, sexy. You know what I'm saying? It's sexy. Like, yo, Michael Kelly knocked this one out of the park. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want, and then it's budget friendly. So I know people got different kind of budgets. This kind of fits in that, $800 range, whatever, which is really cool. And for guitar players, you got money, you're trying to buy an amp, you want to get pedals, you want to get all the kind of stuff. You can't forsake getting a good guitar. You don't have to spend stupid loads of money in order to get something that sounds great, looks great, and feels great. Those are the most important things about when you're playing guitar, something that feels really good, because if it doesn't feel good in your hand, regardless of how dope it looks, it's going to be challenging to play. So I highly encourage you to find something that feels good, that's comfortable. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? New guitars coming to the stimulus for sure. Oh, most def. Listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. Listen, once I saw that people were getting the stimulus checks, I was like, yo, musicians about to they about to eat. They about to get all types of stuff. They about to come out the woodworks with some new gear. And I love it. I'm here for it. I want to see the new gear. So while you're looking for new gear, for those guys that are definitely looking for some stuff, put your eyes on this, put your hands on this if you can. If you can definitely try one out, you won't be disappointed. So going back to what I was saying, whenever you're learning a new concept, create a groove. It's going to make it a lot more fun for you. It's going to make it a lot more memorable for you because you're creating and establishing a groove that you automatically like to play, okay? So let's going back to that. We're in G. We're going to work on the concept of palm muting. So what I'm doing right here, I'm doing one, I'm doing a half step, two, half step, three. So then I'm going to the 4, 5. Then I'm going to do like a little lick in order to kind of tie in all of this stuff. So all I'm doing right there is just like that chromatic walk down. Boo, 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 boo. Like that whole diminished scale. All right, cool. We got it. Now, for some of my guitarists that are like in an intermediate phase, we're looking to try to kind of move around the fretboard a little bit more. And we're like, yo, man, I see people dancing all around the neck of the guitar. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of ideas and concepts on what we're going to do. Okay. So this is what we can definitely do. All right, good. Thank you, Marvin, for letting the people know. This particular guitar is a Michael Kelly. It's a mod shop. It's the 67 Duncan, right? This guitar is a monster. Like, and listen, I want to tell y'all, it's got the locking tuners in the back, right? So this is like a game changer for, especially for the guys that like use a tremolo bar or whatever the case to take like a lot of dives on the guitar. This is a game changer. The fact that you can kind of keep your guitar in tune, which is really important, especially for those that play out live or you're doing kind of like a whole bunch of tricks. Like, I don't have to worry about my guitar really getting out of tune. You cannot forsake having locking tuners. That's super important. So the fact that it already comes in the guitar, that you don't have to like go out and try to buy and purchase some extra stuff, that's like less money that you got to spend on the most important piece of gear. Because without the guitar, I don't care if you got pedals, if you got the amps, it's not gonna work. You know what I mean? Because you got to have something to play. So this is definitely cool. All right, cool. Craig says, I've been depressed, haven't felt practicing at all. You make me want to rip. Oh, Craig, man, that's music to my heart, man. I love hearing that, man. Like, I want to definitely always inspire people to get out and play, because this thing is fun, man. I love guitar to the point like I literally can be in here for hours and just play, because it's just one of those things that I love to do, and I want to share that with everybody else. So the fact that you even said that, man, I really appreciate that, Craig. I hope that whatever we continue to do will inspire you. And also, you know, I want to talk about one of the things we talked about earlier is about if you want to become a camper. I highly suggest, we have a whole community of guitarists literally all over the world that will help motivate you as well. You know what I mean? So it's something you definitely want to check out. It's kerryskamp.com, KERRYSKAMP.com. I'm going to be jumping in a little bit and sharing some information with you about that. Are those stock pickups? Yes, these are the stock Seymour Duncans that came with the guitar. I haven't done anything with it. I literally just pulled it out of the box, tuned it up, plugged it in. I haven't changed anything. Everything on this guitar so far is just stock. I haven't done anything to it. The locking tuners, everything is stock. The only thing that I've done is like I've adjusted my tones, you know, to make sure it doesn't sound too bright, just to my liking. That's just my own personal preference. You know, I like to, because I like to play R&B, I like to make a little bit warmer tone. I don't like it to be so bright, so I like to kind of darken it up a little bit. So we go a little bit more heavy on the bass end. This guitar feels great. I'm excited because I got something else to add to my repertoire. I look forward to like using this bad boy on stage. All right, cool. So much. Kerry makes practicing easy. Too much material. I said I haven't not been around to board it all. Cool, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, so the thing about this, I want to always make learning exciting and learning giving you guys enough concepts and principles that you can use to practice that's actually doable. You know, I don't want to give you stuff that's like over your head and you're like, oh man, it sounds cool, but I can never do that. So I want to give you practical stuff that's definitely going to make you a much better guitarist. All right, we got some more campers in the house. Yo, that's what's up. That's what's up. Must have nice fret. You're sliding. So yeah, definitely the fret. I'm telling you, this guitar is set up really nicely. It's really good. It's easy for me to kind of like say be able to play the way that I normally play, which is awesome. And people can recognize like my tone and how I approach. Sometimes you get new guitars. It's kind of challenging in the beginning, but I'm telling you, this guitar right out the box, I did nothing to it. I didn't take it to my tech. I didn't do anything. I took it really out of the box, plugged it in, got my pick, and that's really what it is. So I've used it on a couple sessions too already, so it's been great. my church guys, this is a great guitar for you. I mean, I'm telling you, all my R&B, if you did singer-songwriter or pop, this would be a good guitar for you too. This guitar has got a nice little sparkle, little crack to it. So let's just go through all the pickups. So this is the neck. And this is the second pickup that I normally use for like my rhythm stuff. Middle's when I'm doing my funk. I love the middle. Fourth position, I usually, like whenever I'm doing kind of singer-songwriter, kind of poppy sound, or even if I'm in church, I'm playing like some more CCM. This is kind of like that pickup that I like to do a lot of the stuff with. Then of course the bridge. Now this thing can definitely, it's got some bite to it, and I love it too. This thing has got some nice bite to it. So yeah, so definitely like everything is stocked, you know what I mean? So cool. It says, can it quack in the fourth position? Definitely. It can definitely quack, you know what I'm saying? This guitar, I tell you, is a problem. All right, cool. Enough of that. Let me go ahead and start talking and transition a little bit. We're going to come back to this. We're going to come back to playing. For those people that are really interested in learning about Kerry's Kamp, so let me go ahead and set you guys up, get you guys set up to talk about some Kerry's Kamp, because that's one of the main things that we were doing with this live, is to share some information. So, all right, so this is what we want to do. We definitely want to share some information with you guys about Kerry's Kamp. All right, cool. Here we go. Right, so this is, I'll let you guys read through it, but this is finally level up and play guitar the way that you want to. So the great thing about this is we're doing a 7-day free trial, right? So if you want to learn to play, especially those that are just trying to learn and get into different genres and learn how to play different things, Kerry's Kamp is definitely the place to be. You know what I mean? We have well over 600 plus videos, and we're constantly growing with content. And we do something called Kerry's Corner, where we get a lot of the industry's best guitarists. We've had people like J-Mo, we've had Mark Lettieri, and the list goes on of different guitarists that play at a high level that share information about how they get started. So, you know, you're frustrated with your soloing, we're going to help you soloing, your practice techniques, various things. You know, it just talks about how the struggle is real, okay? You have different people that have given their kind of testimonies and talk about the various things of what to do. So here we go. So let's take the opportunity to look at some of the things. So if you're, and it doesn't matter your skill level too. So it doesn't matter if you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, or if you feel like you're advanced, we're going to definitely help you focus in how to become and be a better guitarist. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? It's super amazing. And there's so much that you can learn inside of Kerry's Kamp that's definitely going to help you grow in your craft. And I just want to say this, like, it's all about like trying to take what I know and share it with others, because it's super important for me to really just continue to showcase guitarists that have been there, that are growing in their crafts. We're doing some giveaways. We have one of the speakers come on, Mark Lettieri, that we just spoke to the students. And Mark Lettieri just got his own signature guitar with PRS. And we're doing it with some of the students. So I'm super excited. We got so many different things. But let's just take a deep dive into what it actually looks like, okay? So let's just take a deep dive into what it looks like. Let's just jump right in again. So let's actually look at some of the courses. Okay, cool. So now we're in. Now we want to look at Kerry's Kamp. So now we have, this is the flagship. This is what we want to talk about. So you have different, there's over 627 lessons and constantly growing, okay? And so when you first come in, we have a welcome video that's going to help show you, talk to you about specifically what Kerry's Kamp is and how you can get the most out of the community. The keys to growth is consistent practice, okay? And then we talk about our 5-step system, which is build, play, embellish, express, and substitutes, right? Then we have the different courses, right, that really show you. So let's just click on that real quick. So we have beginner master classes, intermediate master classes, gospel master classes. We have the different videos that showcase and kind of get into basic things. So let's just talk about, like, I know people ask me all the time about diminished chords. So what we're going to do now, you'll see that we have different lessons on diminished chords, okay? Talking about different kind of tips and various things like that. So there's just a lot of information in Kerry's Kamp. There's a lot of different things that you can look at. We have the song requests. We have different kind of courses. Live Q&As are a crazy bonus because there's a lot of times when I'm teaching other platforms that you don't get the opportunity to ask a question that I can answer in real time. Live Q&A, you get the chance to do that. You get to ask a question. We sit here, we make sure that all the questions are asked to ensure that everybody's getting their full knowledge of understanding what they're doing. So that's one of the joys, again, of being a member of Kerry's Kamp. So all right, let's go and take some lessons. Let's take some lessons. Okay, cool. I mean, not some lessons, some questions. Cool. Kerry's Corner is changing the game. Yeah, man, definitely. Like, definitely. We've got some heavy hitters that are coming up, and we get, I mean, majority of the industry's best. We've had JMO, we had Mark Lettieri, we had Melanie Faye. We just had Johnny Fung. We're going to have Ben Forehand. We're going to have Rhett Schultz. We had Mark Lettieri. We had Eric Walls. We've had a lot of the heavy hitters to ensure that, you know, it's definitely trying to make you better guitarists. About that very fluid, mellow, jazzy style of yours. Love that. Oh, cool. Love to pick up some of that. Yo, so if you want to pick up some of that, Kerry's Kamp is the way to go because I'm going to show you exactly, and my students can tell you, I'm not one of these guys that be like, I'm going to play this and you guys kind of play that over there. I show you exactly what I'm doing. So if you want to definitely learn that style, I highly suggest you going to kerryskamp.com, KERRYSKAMP.com. And if you apply the principles, like I mean, honestly, we've seen some people that have started to see some changes in their playing within 2 months. I'm telling you, if you really lock in and you hone in on your craft, you can start to really see some significant change in your craft really within 6 months because that's you applying the time and the principles in order to get better. So for sure, definitely can do that. All right, let's go and look at some of these questions. Going to make sure I'm grabbing everybody. Oh, thank you, Mr. Red, and the roadmap. Like, Mr. Red is one of our campers. It's a game changer. He talks about how the roadmap is great starting point too. So for those guitar players that are not really sure where they are, they kind of feel like I might be intermediate, maybe a beginner. The roadmap kind of points and directs you because we all need a way of navigating along this craft. I mean, this guitar is beautiful, but again, if I don't know where to start, then it's just like I feel defeated. So the roadmap starts to point you in the right direction. Get your compass and your needle aligned in the right direction so that way you can kind of figure out what I need to focus on now. So from months 1 to 3, I should kind of be right here if I'm a beginner. Or if I'm intermediate, same situation. 1 through 3, I should be right here. Okay, 3 to 6, I should be right here. You know what I'm saying? 6 to 9, I should be right here. So it's a great way to kind of ensure that you are on the right path and growing your craft. Like the thing that we always want to do, especially at Kerry's Kamp, is to ensure that you feel comfortable when you're playing. It doesn't matter if you're aspire to play on the main stage. It doesn't matter if you aspire to play locally or if you just aspire to play for your friends and family. Like, yo, I love reading the comments and getting the feedback from our students talking about how, like, yo, I played what we just learned for some of my family members, and they could see the growth in my playing, or hearing husbands saying like, how their wives can notice the change in their playing. That is what it's all about. That's what makes me get super excited and love what we do. So again, if you're thinking about like, I want to learn your smooth style. I want to learn this R&B. This is something I've been, sitting on for years, or I've been playing other genres, but I want to kind of get into some new stuff. Yo, take a look at it. You could try it out for 7 days. You don't have to buy. You could try it out for 7 days, navigate around the course, and see it. Yo, is this something that I like? It's something that I want to do. Check it out. I mean, especially when you have some downtime, you can come out. I mean, just slaying on these people. They're gonna be like, yo, you've been in the woodshed. Like, yo, we could definitely see that's what's up. Is Kerry Camp built around the numbers, the natural number system? Yes, it definitely is. I that's one of the main things that we preach, because it's just the easiest way to ensure that whenever you're playing, it doesn't matter if you're playing metal, doesn't matter if you're playing country, doesn't matter if you're playing gospel, doesn't matter if you're playing neo soul, singer songwriter. You use the same approach and same ideology whenever you're playing, because it's going to really help you to decipher and break down things. And the reason why we focus in on the number system, I'll tell you specifically. And all of these concepts that I'm a teacher in Kerry's Camp, I've used for my own personal gain. So I remember I was out with Derulo. I had to also play for Lettucey, and I think I had to play for somebody else locally. I had all this music to learn, and I was like, how am I going to remember and recall everything that I need to do? And so I was like, oh, why don't I just make some chord charts and like some real something simple that I can just be a quick reference point. And so that's when I was like, oh, the number system is a game changer. Because when I was growing up, especially in church, I used to hear people call out numbers, and I never knew what they were talking about. And I just felt lost. I was starting to pick up a couple different things, but I did not understand the point of how they're getting to these points. What are these pivot points? Okay, what does this mean when they say go to the 6? What does this mean when they say go to the 4? Like, what do these things mean? And so understanding that used to make it a lot more simple for myself whenever I have to do like you get a last minute call like, yo, hey, you know what I'm saying? Kerry, we need you to do this. We need you to do this gig. But it's like you got an hour, and they're like, these are the songs. I know you got it. It's too easy for you. You got it. And you're like, what? So you can be able to hear it, kind of jot on some quick reference charts. So when you see it and you're playing, it's kind of like I can follow along and see what I'm doing. So the number system will definitely help you really understand how to unlock the fretboard, how to play to your full potential, and play comfortably. That's the thing about when most people get nervous, especially when it comes to them playing guitar, it's because they're not comfortable. And the biggest thing that I want to always stress is the comfort level. And that comes from you understanding what you're doing and understanding how to do it. So again, I'm super excited for you guys to join Kerry's Camp. I think it's going to be really cool. Again, check out Kerry's Camp if you definitely want to learn how to do some of the stuff that we're doing. All right, so let's just get back in. I want to also talk to you about understanding the rhythmic parts of your playing. So we're going to be in the key of C major. All right, so when you're playing R&B specifically, you want to be very percussive. So it's like we're going to do the Jaheim kind of vibe. So like really understanding, staying on that right note. For all of my Jimi Hendrix fans, that double stop movement is one of the go-tos for real, especially when I play, but also teaching you as a guitarist how to not to hang on just a chord, waiting for it through 3, 4, but you can do something that's really musical and percussive in the same breath while you wait. And a double stop movement is, but you're playing 2 strings at the same time. So even in that, when I got to that D, I'm hammering on, I'm doing like a pull off. And understanding the dynamics is like how high you get, how low you get when you're playing. So everything doesn't have to be like you're just smashing away. So it's like you strike really hard and then you kind of like get soft at the same time. So and the hammer on that pinky, people are like, how do you get your pinky? How do you get your pinky? You gotta work at it. I wish there was a way to just clap your hands 3 times and then you would just get it, but you gotta work at it. So even going back to just that hammer on, that's how you start out. You may have to look down at the neck of your guitar to ensure that you're striking the right string. So like your left hand and your right hand need to work simultaneously together in order to really get more proficient. And you really just got to work on building that strength. Just like when you're working out with weights, you're working out, you got to do what you got to do in order to strengthen that muscle. So, and I highly suggest getting a metronome, right? So let's just say we get a metronome. I got a metronome on my phone. Let's just tap out the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna 3, 4. So everything that you want to do whenever you're learning a new concept, create a groove, create a vibe. It's going to help you remember how to do it. And when you're working on that hammer on, building up that pinky strength, you can increase the speed because you can start out super slow to kind of have it kind of like it feels comfortable. You can work through it. Or if you want to go even slower, let's just go even slower. Let's just do that. So let's decrease it. That last beat that we were on was 62. So like now we're on 58, right? So 2, 3, 4. All right, so now let's just speed it up. Let's just go. Let's get into the 80s. We're at 80. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's even speed it up even faster. Let's get into 90, okay? 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the great thing about working out with the metronome. It's going to keep you honest because it's going to keep the time for you, but it's going to help you to build up to your speed. Whether you're learning a lick, whether you're learning a riff, whether you're learning how to do a hammer-on concept, I'm telling you, the more you can work out with the metronome, it's going to keep you honest. It's going to keep you great. So it's going to, whenever you get into a studio setting or if you're playing live and you have in-ear monitors or whatever the case may be, and there's something keeping the time, your internal metronome or your internal heartbeat, whatever you do in order to keep up with the music, will be great. So you want to work on those techniques. Those techniques all together, are going to help make you even more of a solid musician. So I think the name of this particular app that I have on my phone is called Tempo. So just download the app. I believe it's free. It's definitely going to help you get better at your craft. And then, like I said, you can use the same concept whenever you're learning a lick. So let's slow it down to something crazy. Let's get all the way to 54. 2. So let's just say we want to work on our licks. That's the lick we want to learn, right? So now I want to speed up. So I think I got it. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So every time that I'm always practicing on something, I'm always incorporating multiple things in my playing that's going to help make me more solid, right? So when I was doing that lick, I'm also going to do hammer on. Sus to dominant 7. And if I wanted to do a diminish, so I'm not finding myself just kind of staying in certain I'm always trying to build. Doesn't matter the exercise. I want to incorporate all of the techniques that I'm learning because it's going to make me more solid. The more you can start to use multiple techniques and whatever exercises that you're doing, the more solid you'll get, and you'll start to realize that, oh, I can do this every time that I'm playing, right? So okay, cool. You see, you can get into a whole little vibe, and you can kind of create some other things like that. So now I'm going to open it up. We got some questions in here. I want to definitely ask some questions. If you got some stuff, I want to definitely answer some questions. So hit me with your best shot. You know what I mean? Let me see what y'all got. Definitely want to take this opportunity to answer some questions. Sweet. Kerry, practice tracks in the lick library add so much to helping us work out in progressions. Can you talk in depth about the right hand technique when picking? Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to right hand technique, you want to talk about different things. So pick accuracy. So I'm looking at whenever I'm playing, sometimes in just working on just individual notes. So there's certain ways that you can hold your pick in order to get different articulation with the note. So most of the time that I'm going to play, I'm always going to incorporate that palm muting when I'm first starting out, because it just offers like a cool dynamic to whenever I'm playing. So I want to work on that technique. So I'm going to strike the string, and then I'm going to slowly rest my hand on the string to kind of get that muted sound. So take my hand off. And then I want to work on the vibrato with my left hand. And it's really important that you want to get a good, comfortable, you're not squeezing your pick to like the point that you're about to shake and pass out. You want to have a good grip. So this is a pick that I just started using. It's by Bog Street, and they have the center of the pick picked out, or cut out. And I think it's really good to kind of just work on the sensitivity of when you're holding it, to be more intentional behind holding your pick. Because sometimes you can get lazy with your pick and get lazy and then drop it. So this is just another company that I feel like is really cool that can kind of help. And again, it's not for everybody. Again, I'm not trying to push anything on you. You have to find what works best for you. But you want to work on just ensuring that you have good pick etiquette, I guess, when you're holding it, to make sure that you're getting a good hold on your, your pick when you're playing. So there's different things you can do for technique. You can look down if you need to. The hope is to get to the point that you don't have to look down and do what you're doing. Cool. We got any more questions? That was a great question. So it's really cool. Like, the more you start to do these exercises like this for real, you're going to start to see a lot more depth in your playing. The more you start to do it, the more you're going to start to get a lot more comfortable with moving around the neck of the guitar. So like I said before, whenever you're learning these concepts, start to make a groove whenever you're playing. Start to use other techniques that you've been learning and incorporate them in within the exercise. So if you're focusing on learning a lick, now that you learn that lick and you're adding a chord to kind of create the groove, add the hammer onto the chord. Now that you've been doing that, work on the double stop movement if it fits in that particular exercise. And if you learn how to do the diminished chord, learn to use a diminished chord. It's definitely going to help out with your playing. So you can never forsake that. Making a groove is going to make you want to play it. As far as you just trying to like sludge through and just learn how to play that particular technique. So those are some of the techniques, some of the things that you can learn in Kerry's Kamp. And I'm telling you, you're really going to love being a part of this community, because it's all about making you feel comfortable on the neck of the guitar, helping you grow. So if we have any more questions or anything like that, please let me know. I'm working on chord phrasing and the number system. Can you show me a few examples of this for practice? So chord phrasing, let's just say we're going to be in the key of C major, right? I want to work on 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what I might do, the first I'm just going to play it very, when I say basic, just using my major sevens, right? So, right? So the next time I may change my hand position. So instead of playing my C down here, so I'm playing the same chords, but I'm voicing them different. So the first time I didn't do the pull off. Now I'm doing the pull off. Major 9. That's some of the stuff that you can do, right? So playing the same chord. My root is on the 5th string. Now I'm going to root, my root is on the 6th string. Then I'm going to start to incorporate putting them two together. So where my root is going to be on the 6th, but I'm going to jump in and do some of my 5th string root chord. So I did my root, my 2, my 3, 4. Stuff like that will definitely help you, because it's like you kind of interchanging things. And then depending on, sometimes if you're playing songs where like a lot of the licks are maybe voiced in a certain way, it's going to help you too. So whenever you're doing like session work and you want to decide to different voicings or different inversions of those chords, you can definitely do that. Cool. you got any more questions, I definitely want to take and answer you guys' questions. Arpeggios with chording. Super simple. That's it. So instead of you just strumming the chord, I play each individual note and keep rotating them. So. Again, so anytime that you're learning any kind of concept, create a groove, is going to be easier for you to kind of remember and retain what you're doing. Yes. Do you use a floating tremolo when recording, or is the decked? No, I always, all of my guitars are always, I always use a floating tremolo whenever I'm playing. That's just a personal preference. I don't like to have my bridge just kind of flush to the body. That's just my personal preference whenever I play. So that's just what I do. But yeah, it doesn't have any kind of issues or any kind of tuning issues. That's why most of my guitars have locking tuners on the back, or I get the intonation fixed up with my tech, and I don't really have an issue to worry about that, Scott. So that's a great question, but I never really have any issues. And I have a guitar that has a Bixby on it, and I never still have any issues with that. So yeah, I never have any questions or any issues whenever I'm recording. So that's a great question, Scott. Musically, what are the main differences between gospel and neo soul? There's a lot of differences. Gospel has a whole lot of changes, right? The neo soul doesn't. So, like, let's just say this is an example of a gospel song, kind of quartet song. That whole movement, that's a quartet gospel movement. You're not gonna get that in neo soul. So, like, if you're thinking about songs like "Bag Lady." Gospel is a whole lot more changes than neo soul. Neo soul is kind of like, if I'm just using layman terms, really kind of straightforward. Gospel is you're doing a lot of dips, a lot of licks. There's a whole lot of different versions of gospel within the genre. So yeah, there are a lot of differences. Gospel is a whole lot more licks, you know what I mean, that you have to do within the song. There are some songs that do have neo soul R&B kind of flavors with it, but there are a lot of different kind of changes and a lot of different kind of licks that you're going to have in gospel that you will not have in neo soul. So for layman's terms, those are like the best ways to kind of describe it. What is key to getting great strings and string. What is the key to getting strings and great? So for me, I love Diodario's. Like that's just my personal preference. But you got to find what resonates with you. And then for me, I like to play primarily with tens, and then on my acoustics, I like to play with 11s. I just feel like it's just the presence of the sound whenever I'm playing acoustic with 11s just resonates better. But I always want to focus on the action. So when I'm talking about the action, I'm literally talking about how far your strings are away from the neck of the guitar, right? I like to have close action. It makes it easier for me to play. If the strings are up too high whenever I'm playing, it's going to be more challenging, more difficult to really kind of get the chords to play the same way that you want and kind of move around the neck of the guitar. So it could be a lot more challenging. So definitely find the brand that resonates well with you. And then also too, I would say get your action adjusted on your guitar. Make sure that your action is not too high so that you can play the way that you always want to play. That's very important. Seems like you got things dialed in well. You sound very even. Sweet, I appreciate it. Yeah, this guitar is straight out of the box. I have not done any mods to it, anything like that. So like, yeah, I mean, this guitar plays really well. So that's why I was saying, like, you know, for the guys who are like the intermediate who are about to get these stimulus checks and they're like, yo, I'm about to buy some new gear, you should definitely check out Michael Kelly guitars. Like, I mean, it's a super dope guitar, and I'm up here like jamming. I used a guitar in a session earlier this week. Cool. Any more questions? I'm going to make sure I'm grabbing everybody's questions before we wrap up. And another thing I would tell you guys, if you guys are in church or happen to be around some keyboard players, just start listening to keyboard players. That's where I really got a lot of my chord vocabularies and articulations when I play, from just listening to a lot of keyboard players. Because they, a lot of times when they're playing, like even if they're doing like kind of like easy listening music around the malls or whatever, they have to fill up that space. There's not a lot of dead space, but their stuff is very musical. So just start paying attention, and just start listening to like, oh, that's kind of like a chord. I mean, there's plenty of times I've been in like malls or whatever, and I've heard like keyboard players that are playing or pianists that are playing, and I'll record them and I'll go back and I'll listen to like, oh, so that's how they got around that change, or that's how they're doing whatever. That's part of the voicings, or that's the phrasing that they want to use. Definitely will add to your playing and just definitely give you a lot of different kind of ideas and options. Let's go back, and I saw another question. Do you see the fretboard in shapes? Um, yeah, so I lock in on certain patterns. Like I lock in on, and I teach primarily, like you talk about the major pattern and the minor pattern, right? And those patterns don't really change whenever you're playing. Even when you get ready to go to your minor 11s, minor 7s, they all, and minor 9s, for the most part, stay the same. So I'm really focusing on that, because what I want to do is when I'm playing, I want to make guitar simple for myself. The more simple you can make it and uncomplicated you can make it, the easier it'll be for you to play how you want to always play. And that's one of the things that I always talk about doing whenever I teach. We got a few more questions. I have a lot of diversity in my playing. I absolutely love your style. I'm also interested in playing. Symphonic metal, which involves a lot of minor, major sweeping arpeggios. Any sessions on that genre? And Kerry's Kamp. No, so Kerry's Kamp mainly focusing on specifically R&B, neo soul, gospel. Those are the concepts and the principles. Now, once you learn those principles, you can use those to go to any other kind of genre. So I give you a great foundation where I make sure before we push out of the nest, you can flap your wings, you can fly, you can soar. So that's what we primarily focus in on. Pentatonic minor and major. Yep. God bless. I just joined your lesson. It's very nice. Thank you so much for your help. Oh man, you're more than welcome. Are your solo ideas based on the scales or arpeggiation ideas? So my soloings are always focused in on number one. There's a couple different things that I focus in on. Melody first. I'm always listening for melody, but if I have a brain fart and don't know what else to do, we like to always go to the minor pentatonic. And I know people bash the minor pentatonic. Oh, it sounds bluesy. But whenever we're playing or whenever I'm teaching, I show you how not to make it sound bluesy, because there's a lot of gold in there that we want to do that can show you how to make it not sound bluesy. So I'm going to go back to the track that I was playing with earlier, right? And to explain some concepts to you. So I'm listening. So this vibe is in the key of F major. So I'm going to focus on off of the minor pentatonic, which is like the relative minor is going to be a D minor. So I want to pick out a melody. We could get all bluesy we want. I try not to make my soloing sound like I'm playing the scale. We don't want to do that. We want to start picking out certain notes in order to make whatever kind of conversation we want to make. So, right? And all of that still in the same minor pentatonic. That lick. So there's ways that you can make the minor pentatonic not sound so stale, like it sounds like you're playing the scale. I've been learning Alonian, Mixolydian, want to be able to use them as I play in church. Cool, definitely, for sure. Like, it's all about like adding that kind of stuff to your playing. If it makes sense and you can definitely fit it in, I would say definitely use it. Listen, I've enjoyed my time with you. We've had so much fun on this live stream. For those that are like considering joining Kerry's Camp, you should definitely do it. You will not be sad that you made that choice. Again, you can try it out for 7 days to see like if it's something that makes sense for you. I hope that you've learned a lot of different kind of insight. If you're getting your stimulus check, you're looking for some gear to get, you're looking for a new guitar, listen, I'm gonna let the break for itself. Y'all heard me play. Listen, I played this guitar. We didn't sit up here and just kind of held it and make it because it looks good. Definitely play this guitar. This is the guitar that I will definitely be using on the stage. And it looks great, sounds great. So remember the concepts that we talked about. We talked about using the number system. We talked about using the metronome whenever you're applying a new concept, learning a lick, using your hammer-ons, double stop movements. Create a groove when you're learning a new concept because it's going to make it fun for you to learn. So I would definitely love for you to be a part of what's going on. I think that you guys will definitely grow in your craft, and I really appreciate hanging out with you guys. You guys have so much fun. You guys take care. Listen, I'm going to be looking for y'all, some of y'all that are not campers. I'm going to be looking for some of y'all in Kerry's Camp because I'm like, listen, it's just a community of people all around the world that definitely want to learn and get better together. And once everything kind of clears up, man, I definitely want to meet some of y'all. Like, definitely, it doesn't matter if I'm playing in your city, you happen to see me or whatever, come to the show, speak. Definitely. Or I want to come support y'all. If I see y'all on TV, I see some of these names and be like, yo, I saw my boy Milton, yo, he's playing da 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 da. I want to be able to shout some of y'all out. You know what I mean? Mr. Red, I seen you, bro, playing with such and such. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. So definitely look forward to having you get part of this community. You guys be so great. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me, and thanks for making this a lot of fun. Love you, Sam Ash. You guys are great. If you're looking for some gear, man, y'all should definitely check out Sam Ash, man. Like, don't sleep on Sam Ash. They got some stuff, man. So find yourself hanging out and get some of that stuff, man. I love y'all, man. Y'all take care. I'm just rambling. All right.